Alright, I'm on hole number 5 of the Clifftop Links tournament. I'm in the Tuesday qualifying round of the rookie division. I am trying to qualify today. Alright, this hole right here. So in my low level account, with I think it's a level 6 quarterback, my red line was right here. So I had to leave the wind. If I remember correctly, the wind was kind of going in this direction. So I left the wind in to push me up onto the fairway to try and roll out here. And you really don't have to be all the way to the tip out here. It's just going to mean that on your second shot, you'll have to put more topspin on whatever club you bring. The farther out here you get, the better, but you don't have to push it. And I left the wind in, and I think the shot would have been fine, except I hit it 2 rings great to the right, and I ended up out here in the rough. Because on the right-hand side, you can see where, like, when you're coming in at this, if you're coming in like this, you know, trying to bring it out here, this spot is long. Anything you hit over here, if you're off to the left, off to the right, you know, it's shorter out here. So distance-wise, you may have been perfect if you were aiming out here, but out here it'll dribble out into the rough. Same thing out here. So it's really, that's why I played this shot with a quarterback. Why I wanted to play it with my low-level account with a quarterback is because you have a little bit more room for maneuver with a quarterback that you don't have with an extra mile. If you come out here with an extra mile and you hit a 2-ring great to the right, you're going to end up in the sand. And so I really like to come at this with a more accurate club, and that's the whole deal is if we were bringing a big club and we were really doing a thing, we'd be trying to get out here. Out here, we're trying to give ourselves a great straight-in shot with a sniper to pick up an albatross, and this is definitely an albatrossable hole. I find that the second shot going in is just a pure max wind adjustment, no extra, no nothing, just straight out the hole. So I'm going to bring my accurate bag. I'm going to change this up just in case on another hole I've got the right club. I remove my accurate bag, and I'm going to bring a Titan. And I've got lots of them, so that's what I'm bringing. That's why you save your good stuff. It cracks me up when I get on one-on-one and they just offered some ball, it's a low wind ball, and we're on a par 5 and people are using up those balls. I hoard those balls for tournaments only, and I'm real particular about when I use them. Otherwise, you're gonna, you know, if you're spending a lot of money on the game, that's great for Playdemic. And I encourage you to, you know, we want to keep Playdemic in business. I mean, it's not like I want Playdemic to, I don't want you to encourage you to not buy anything. I want you, you know, it's okay to buy stuff. Just be wise when you're using the stuff that you bought. So that's about a 2.5 ring pool. And I'm going to put just a little bit of curl on it just to bring it back out there to the left. Isn't it perfect? I'm hitting it toward, I'm bringing it to the left because that's the longest part of that fairway area. And I don't want to flirt with, my original note said no more than 3 topspin, and I used about 2.5 right there because I found if you use 3 and you are a little bit, especially to the right, it's short on the right, and you could end up rolling off into the rough even though, you know, to the left you still had another 15 yards. So I'm trying to play that drive shot pretty conservative because I'm not the drive shot is a pure setup shot. The whole goal on the drive is to put me in the right spot so that I can get this sniper shot to try and go for Albie. Alright, we're right at the red line. Maybe just a little bit back. I'm going to make sure that ball guide's drifting towards the hole. It's 4-4, so I'm going to do a pure wind adjustment. It's 4.4 rings. 100% accurate club. Now it just boils down to hitting it perfect. If I hit it perfect, I give myself a great shot at Albie here. Hitting it perfect. Give myself a look. Just a little bit on the inside. That's the whole. That's what I talk about. If you watch all my videos when I'm shooting these, as I'm going through the round and I'm talking, that's the whole deal right there. Is coming onto these holes and giving yourself a look. What was my goal when I came to this hole? My goal is to get an eagle and go to the next hole. But what I like is that I put myself in the right spot on the drive, so that when I was going for the shot to get me on the green so that I could make my eagle putt, I had a shot to pick up Albie. I put myself in the right spot, I had the right club, I had the right ball, and I gave myself that look at it. And this time I didn't pick up the Albie, but I gave myself a look at it. I gave myself a shot. And my opponent did not give themselves a shot, and that's one of the reasons I don't like hitting over to that side. I see people work really hard to shoot over to that side to get into a spot, and when they get there, they're like, yeah, I got there. And then when they get to the next shot, they go, wow, I didn't bring the right clubs. Because now you've got to deal with the sand. If you hit over the sand on the green side, you're looking at, especially if they would have got way up there like they were trying to, they would have had to have a backspin club, or they're going to have to hit in that narrow area in between the sand and the water, and they've got to make a great wind adjustment, and it's a side wind adjustment. With the wind that we have on this tournament right now, let's go look at that hole. The way the wind's working is, if you hit out here and end up in this spot, the second shot wind is going this way, so you're going with the wind. So it's easier to make a wind adjustment when the wind's going with you than it is when the wind's going to the side. So if the wind's going here and they were out here and you're trying to shoot this, now you've got a side wind. It's not a pure side wind, but you still have a side wind. So your adjustment's got to be very, very good whenever you have side wind. And you can look at these holes when you're looking at wind, and like whatever wind they give us in the tournament, and let's say they gave us wind so that the wind was going like this, then that means if we're out here, we're going to be hitting against that side wind coming in. Whereas if we laid up out here, now when we've got the shot coming into the hole, now we've got a tailwind, and it's going to be easier for us to make that wind adjustment. Okay, so if you're doing the backspin shot where you're over here, it's going to be easier to adjust out the wind. Doing these shots where you're in these very small areas like this, it's always better if you have a side wind. And the reason is that if you're here and you make a bad wind adjustment, it's just going to push you over here, and you're still going to be in this cut of the fairway. If the wind was going this direction and you made a bad wind adjustment, it's just going to push you over here, but you're still in that cut of the fairway. Whereas if you have a tailwind, or if you have a headwind and you're in this spot and you're trying to achieve this goal, if you make a bad wind adjustment and you got a headwind, you're going to end up in the rough. You make a bad wind adjustment and you've got a tailwind, you're going to end up in the sand. That's why these types of spots where you're hitting into a very tight little area, the wind really does play a factor. So if I was over here trying to make this shot, I would have brought the right club so that I could have started off on this side and tried to backspin it in. All right, that was hole number 4 of the Clifftop Links, or hole number 5. Hole number 5 of the Clifftop Links tournament and Tuesday's qualifying round of the rookie division. Thanks for watching.